Have you ever wondered how square should you square your pelvis in Warrior 2? If you're one of those people who's worried about it, then this is the answer. And what I don't want to give you is this particular standard instruction for anyone, because really what it's about is positioning the pelvis and the sacroiliac joint so that they optimally transfer the forces that are coming up through your legs and down through your spine, legs to spine and spine to legs. And if your pelvis is too square or too unsquare or too tilted forward or too tilted backward, that optimum transference of forces will create a kind of resistance or a compression, and that's usually called sacroiliac joint pain. So it's usually people who worry about their sacroiliac joints that are concerned with this. Let's turn your right foot out, say, and turn your left foot in and bend your knee. And set up your Warrior 2 posture, maybe not too wide a stance. So what you want to be aware of is the pelvis. And I don't set up the arms until I've set up the pelvis. So your right knee is pointing directly where your right toes are pointing. We're not getting a knee that's leaning in. And then we're going to take hold of the pelvis. And if I gave you $1 million, if you're going to rip your mat in two, really press your footprints down into the floor. Keep an arch in the back foot, but press it firmly. And you get that sense of putting some load and some force. Now, if you turned your pelvis a little bit toward your front leg, I fall out of my back leg and I'm not going to win that $1 million. If I turn my pelvis like we used to instruct, where it's really, really square, I have a lot of discomfort in my sacroiliac joint, but I also don't feel as if my footprints are as strong, as heavy, and as connected to the floor. So, maybe even with your eyes closed, rather than worrying about what it looks like from the outside, get a feeling for how much you should rotate your pelvis toward the front leg and back toward me that feels like you have that optimum strength. And suddenly, when you get it, it feels like you could put someone on your shoulders for the pose. Now the other thing to do is, how much should you tilt your pelvis forward and back? So we're often told tuck the tail under, and people grip their buttocks, pull up on the pubic bone, and really close off the front too much. Alternately, you see people drop their pubic bone and arch into their back and create that, and they've dropped any sense of connection. You'll feel your legs not be as strong enough underneath you. So play with balancing that position. Find the optimum pelvic tilt for yourself, front and back, anterior, posterior. And again, when your legs give that sense of connection, that's where you need to be. And finally, what we need to do is just make sure, a lot of us fall into that front hip. So can we keep that sense of earthedness? And ooh, I suddenly feel what we're doing in that back leg as I bring that hip down and bring it level. Again, find, with even rotating, where you've got the strongest legs, and then like a warrior, the arms can float up and you can be tremendously strong. And then we can use those legs to do beautiful things for our upper body, free and light, full of sukha, when the legs are full of sthira and alignment. So it's different for everyone. You experiment and feel for yourself. And don't be surprised, your students, if you have students, will be able to feel it too.